Good evening on behalf of CENTA. We are delighted that you've joined us today for CENTA's webinar series for teachers. Today we have the session on the topic creating question papers with 4 steps. We are honored to have Ms. Shrinidhi Prasankumar, principal at SKS Academy and EVA World School. Welcome, Ms. Srinidhi. Ms. Srinidhi is the principal of SKS Academy and EVA World School, where she is recognized for creating innovative, student centric learning environments. With a background in child psychology and career guidance, she is dedicated to nurturing students' emotional well being while supporting their academic and professional development. As an experienced teacher trainer, Ms. Srinidhi collaborates with Center to empower educators with practical strategies for effective teaching. Her passion for experiential learning and leadership development allows her to adopt a holistic approach to education, seamlessly integrating traditional methods with technology driven innovations. This dynamic approach ensures that both students and teachers are well equipped to succeed in a constantly evolving educational landscape. Welcome again to our esteemed facilitator. I hand over the session to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Simran, for the generous introduction. So, good evening, everyone. I am the resource person for you today. Hope I'm audible to all of you. I'm visible to all of you. And here we go with a beautiful session today evening. I would like to welcome all of you, and I'm feeling so glad and privileged to meet you all today with the help of the CENTA platform. Thank you so much, CENTA, for giving me this opportunity. So, let's begin with today's session. I'm ready. Are you all ready? Give me a quick response in the chat box. Are you all ready for the learning? Say yes. Come on, quickly. I want to see the chat box filled with responses. That's great. That's really, really great. Okay, this gives me a lot of energy to take the session ahead. So, my belief as a resource person. Initially, I used to think that education is all about preaching, education is all about tutoring, education is all about delivering the lessons. But once I started gaining the experience and I have started recognizing myself as a professional in the education field, I started realizing that education is not about tutoring or teaching. Education is all about teaching is all about learning. Teaching is all about implementing, and teaching is all about gaining knowledge than delivering knowledge. So, as teachers, when we are ready, when we are prepared to gain a lot of knowledge, I'm pretty much sure that we are going to deliver a lot more than what we gain. So, with this positive note, let's begin today's session. So, as introduced by Ms. Simran, today's topic is creating question papers in a simple method. I'm going to give you basic knowledge and easy methodologies to crack your question papers as per the demand of the CBSE, that is CBQ, in just 4 steps. So, the first step that we will be looking at is sourcing content. How are we going to source content, and what should we remember while sourcing the content? The second step would be deciding the objective. Either we can call it as assessment objective, or we can call it as learning outcome, because the objective of the assessment is always going to be the outcome of the child's learning, right? That's what we are going to test in the assessment. The third step is going to be choose the level of assessment objective. We have to choose the level of our question. Am I going to ask a low order thinking skill question? Am I going to ask an high order thinking question? Is my question going to be easy? Is it going to be medium? Is it going to be very hard? So that's something will be the third step where we check the level of the question. And the fourth step is going to be very, very simple. That's creating the question. That is framing the stem. Stem is nothing but the wordings that you're going to add inside the question. So let's get inside. First is sourcing content. A very, very important part, because the concept which you would like to assess the child is something that you really need to filter, and you have to be very conscious about it while you pick up a question. If the content is very weak, if the weightage of the content is going to be very less, and if you are asking a high order thinking skill question, which is a very tough question in a very weak content, then that's not going to make a lot of sense, right? Hence, sourcing a right content for right question is very, very important. So before creating any question paper, creating blueprint for it is a very important task. And also creating weightage for each and every chapter, each and every topic and subtopic is going to help us a lot to have a picture clear question paper. So here I have taken a small example. It's a science example where the topic or the chapter in which I'm going to ask the question is particle theory. So we all know about particle theory. We all know about particles, the different states of matter, right? Solid, liquid, and gas. So, for example, if that is the chapter in which you are planning to ask the highest amount of question, so the your content obviously where particle theory of matter is going to be your content. Based on that, you will be asking questions based on different states of matters. So for example, let's take this throughout our slide as an example. So the first step we have already chosen, that is the topic. So the topic for your question is, for example, particle theory. The second step that we discussed is assessment objective, which is nothing but the learning outcome. So what is the learning outcome that I want to test in today's exam or in today's assessment is something that you have to be very, very clear about. 80% of your question paper is done very well when you have the clarity with assessment objective, with the learning outcome. For example, after teaching the topic particle theory, I want to test the learning outcome of states of matters. Based on the physical properties with reference to the particle theory, I would like to test my children that whether did they understood the topic states of matters. So that's my assessment objective, to test the learning outcome. And in that, especially I want to see whether are they able to distinguish, are they able to differentiate the different states of matters based on the physical property. That is, how the atoms are bound, whether they are loosely bound, whether they are tightly bound, or what is the exact characteristics of each and every state of matter. So this is going to be my assessment objective, and the assessment objective is always going to be the learning outcome. So I'm going to check the learning outcome of my children in the topic, whether they are able to distinguish, differentiate the different states of matter. So I have set my assessment objective, which is going to be the second step that you all have to do while creating a question paper. The third step, the most important step again, once you select the assessment objective, you should know the level of the question. Whether my question in this particular topic is going to be easy, is it going to be medium, or is it going to be difficult? I hope most of you as teachers would be familiar with the Bloom's taxonomy, because that's something that BEd has churned us in 3 years that I would tell you all. So here is where you all have to decide whether you are going to create a question based on a remembering level or understanding level, which is a lots based question, low order thinking skills, or you're going to put your question on the high order thinking skill, which is application, analysis, evaluation, and creating. So, again, I would say that the content has no relation with the level. It is always the objective that has the relation with the level. It is always the assessment objective. For example, here our assessment objective is distinguish. If you all can say the term distinguish, I'm very clear with my objective that my child should be able to differentiate the states of matters. So when I want them to distinguish, I don't want them to remember, I don't want them to explain, I don't want them to show example, I don't want them to choose, recall. No, I don't want them to do all this low order thinking skill. I want them to distinguish. I want them to compare and contrast, for example, or I want them to apply their knowledge. Then I'm slightly taking them to the higher level of the pyramid, which is understanding or analyzing. Okay, so here my assessment objective is demanding me to go towards the higher side of the pyramid. So it's always your objective that demands the level and it's not the content. Many people feel that if the content is hard, then the question will be hard. But it's not the case. We can take the easiest content and develop a very hard STEM, a high order thinking skill kind of a STEM with the easy content by manipulating the question. So, this is something that I would like to give a clarity here because that's a myth which most of us have as teachers. So moving ahead, I hope all of you are clear with this. Remembering, understanding, application, analysis, evaluating, and creating. So creating is the topmost of the pyramid, which is considered to be the toppest of the high order thinking skill, right? And of course, the weightage and the marking of the questions based on these pyramid is also going to change. The remembering level of question will have the lowest weightage, and the creating level of question may have the highest weightage, right? So yeah, just to give you a small glimpse of Bloom's taxonomy, I hope that you all are aware of Bloom's taxonomy. The remembering level will be able to judge or will be able to evaluate only recalling. I have studied a textbook, I have read a topic, a subtopic. Am I able to recollect things? Am I able to keep the thing in my memory and bring it back? Just that is what remembering level kind of questions is going to check. The second level is understanding, that is comprehension, where we are nudging the child to the next level, where we are expecting the child not only to remember, but also to understand, but also to correlate, and also to give some examples out of it, right? So here the comprehension interpretation happens. Again, we are pushing the child to the next level, that is application, where which whatever the child has learned from the textbook or from the class, from the teacher, is he or she able to apply the knowledge in a different situation? Are they able to remember, understand, and apply that knowledge in a different situation and come up with something new? Is the level of application. And then we are going to analysis, where we are expecting the child to break down the content into smaller pieces and to make more sense of it, to zoom in the products, to zoom in the learning, is something that analysis is all about. Analyzing the content, comparing and contrasting, bifurcating. Um, so all this comes under analysis. And then the fifth level where we are pushing the child would be evaluate. Now he remembers, he understands, he applies, he also analyzes. Now after analyzing the content, will he be able to evaluate? Will he be able to justify that which knowledge or which content is better, right? Or which answer is better and why? So such kind of evaluation is the fifth level, and the sixth level is the topmost level, as I've already told you, which is creation, right? So out of all the knowledge that he has gained, out of all the comprehension that he has gained, is he or she able to create something new or recreate something better than what it was before? So that's the ultimate level, which is the sixth level, and it's the level creation. I hope till now we are going good, right? If you can just show me a thumbs up quickly in the comments, that's great. Okay. Now the next slide is is just helping you to understand again the Bloom's taxonomy, different levels of Bloom's taxonomy, which is all about what do I expect the learner to know. Here in remembering level, he just have to know, have to remember. Nothing much is expected. Understanding, should interpret, should extrapolate. Extrapolate means should be able to add something in her own words, should be able to give exemplars, should be able to give examples, right? Applying, application, as I've already told you, should be able to apply the knowledge, the bookish knowledge or the lecture knowledge or the experimental knowledge that the school has given in a real life situation. Analyzing and evaluating which is better, coming to a conclusion, judging, right? Bringing his or her own opinion into life is evaluating. And creating is, of course, the child will be able to create his own product when he reaches this particular level. So, this is the third step that we are discussing about. If you could quickly recollect, the step number one is all about sourcing the content, identifying the content, for which I have given you the tips of creating blueprints, marking weightage for your chapter, marking weightage for your topic, subtopic, and then finalizing the best content. The second thing, which is a very, very important step, is understanding the learning outcome. What kind of learning outcomes can I expect when I teach this, after I teach this topic, and assessing the outcome through an assessment objective. So here it's very, very important for you to set up an assessment objective. And the third step is to connect your assessment objective with the different levels of Bloom's taxonomy. For example, you are having a higher objective where you want your child to analyze or where you want your child to create something new. But whereas your question stem is having a very low level of, Bloom's verbs, then that is not going to match. All these things we will be seeing ahead in the session with example. I'm also going to post many polls for you. So yes, please wait. So the fourth step, the last step is going to be, yes, the framing the questions, for which we are doing all of this, right? So framing the question stem. So here the word stem means the sentence in which the question lies. And the sentences will be again created with the help of the Bloom's taxonomy. So here there is a small tip for the day where I would like to tell you that before creating a question directly, it is always a better choice to create an item descriptor. So here item means a question. Stem means the sentence that you are using in the question. So before creating a question, it's always a better choice for you to create an item descriptor. So item descriptor is nothing but what you think about the question in your raw format. Immediately what comes to your mind when you think of an assessment objective, when you think of creating a question, something will flash in your mind, right? Say, for example, distinguish the different states of matter is something that is a raw state before creating a proper question. So that is an item descriptor. Item descriptor will give you a clarity of before landing inside the direct question. So it is always a better choice for you to create an item descriptor. Here the example that I have given you for the item descriptor is differences in the particle of three matters. When I think of differentiating the particles, differentiating the three states of matters, this is something that a raw statement that has come to my mind. My child should be able to tell the differences in the particles of three matters, of states. Okay. So based on this, then I will build my question by saying that compare and contrast the properties that are there, properties particles in solid, liquid, and gases regarding their arrangements and motions. So this makes more sense, right? Because everybody will not be able to understand my item descriptor. But from my item descriptor, I will dive in deep and I will be framing my questions, which will be the fourth step. So comparing and contrasting are the Bloom's taxonomy verbs that I have used here, which is a high order thinking skill, which is analysis stage. Compare and contrast the properties of particles in solid, liquid, and gases regarding their arrangements and motion. Is the question which I have framed ultimately after doing the first, second, third step. I have landed up in creating an item descriptor, and after creating an item descriptor, I have created my ultimate question, which is compare and contrast. Means difference. By the term difference, I would mean that compare and contrast the properties of particles in solid, liquid, and gaseous states regarding their arrangements and motions. So these are the major four steps. Now I will be taking you through multiple examples. So when we speak about Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy is a huge ocean. We all know about it. It's not a easy cup of tea where we are going to understand it and implement it within few days. It comes only based on our practice. And I somewhere feel that as teachers, we should have a good, strong hold in the verbs related to Bloom's taxonomy, because that's going to help us in a long run. While I tell this, Mr. Jayashankar, I would request you to kindly share the Bloom's wheel uh, link to our audience in the stream and those who are here in the webinar. So this is the link of the image that is currently visible to you on your screen, which gives you almost all the verbs that you can use in your question paper with respect to different levels, with respect to the 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy. For example, you think that I want to create a question in the level analyzing, okay? Then what kind of verbs you should use while drafting your question? You can use distinguish, you can use examine, you can use outline, you can use research. So it makes it very simple for you to start your question. Though you will not be able to frame your stem, but yes, these verbs are going to help you a lot to start your question. Sir, if you could please post the link for our audience in the YouTube chat, that would be great for me. Thank you so much. So not right now, you can later on. In fact, I would say if you are a beginner teacher where you are 2 years, 3 years experienced, I used to do this. I suggest you to do the same. Take a printout of it and put it in front of your working space. There must be some small bulletin board or something. Please take a small printout of this and put this in front of your eyes, wherein you are going to see this every day, every minute. And unless and until this gets by heart, you are going to muck up this entire wheel. Till then, please take a printout and put it in front of your eyes. This is going to help you a lot in your journey as a teacher. Moving ahead, once you have fixed your verb, right, your Bloom's taxonomy uh, verb, the word, you should be able to draft the stem, draft the question. So these are the stem starters, again, which will be very, very useful for you as a beginning teacher or as a teacher who is a 3-4 years experienced, right? So if it is an objective question that you want to ask, you can choose any one of it, one of the 27 STEM starter that I have given you. So while you go to a restaurant, starters are, used to increase your appetite, right? The same way, this starter STEM is going to help you to increase your appetite for creating good questions. So identify the statement that exemplifies the idea of what your content will fall. So like that, you can use the stem for any content. But again, while you use the stem, please do not use it directly. Please compare it with the Bloom's wheel. When you are using explain, you are somewhere expecting the child to come to the second level of Bloom's taxonomy, that is understanding, comprehending. When you use define, you are going in the first level. When you are using clarify, you are somewhere going to the evaluation level. When you use compare, you are going to the analysis, distinguish, analysis, compare and contrast, analysis. So you should be able to understand which word is used in which level, so that your question paper is not too much high level difficult for the child to resolve, or your question paper has only remembering level and it is completely, easy for the child to solve. So it shouldn't be both the case. So always compare your question with the levels of the Bloom's taxonomy so that you create a balanced question. Mr. Jaishankar, I would request you to kindly share the links of both these pictures of STEM starters with our audience, please. So this is the continuation of the question stems. I hope this will be very, very useful for you. It's just like a starter. After that, you have to add your own content. For example, predict the outcome of this particular experiment can be a science question. How would you portray the character of uh, a particular lesson can be a question. Devise a way to solve the above given problem can be a question. So these are few starter examples for you. Thank you, sir. Moving ahead, let's try to understand with some examples. Still now we were talking, 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 and talking. Now I'm going to practically show you few examples. Okay. So whenever you want to create a lot-based question, till now we are in states of matters. We are not coming out of it because churning our mind inside same topic is going to give us better clarity. What sort of questions you may create when it comes to the low order thinking skill questions? That is a remembering level and understanding level. We are not going to the high order now, right? So the question can be simply as, what are three main states of matters? What are three main states of matters? So here, quickly answer me in the chat box. What am I expecting the child to do? Am I expecting the child to just remember? Am I expecting the child to understand? Am I expecting the child to analyze? Or what am I expecting the child to do? Let me test how brilliant are my audience. Come on, quickly respond. In question number 1, what are the three main states of matters? Yes, that's absolutely right. Remember. Yeah, I'm able to see a wonderful response here. Great. Now, the second question, define what is particle theory. Define term also comes under the remembering level. So I'm expecting the child to just remember the particle theory here. The third question is, explain the characteristics of particles of matter by stating an example. Now, when I ask the child, yes, yes, audience, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for your response. Yes. So now the third question, let's focus on the third question. Explain the characteristics of particles of matter by stating an example. So when I talk about explain, what am I expecting from the child? Just to remember or to understand or to apply or to analyze? Can you quickly respond? Yes, Amuda, that's absolutely right. We are expecting the child to understand. Yes, Mr. Naga, that's absolutely right. Yes, Miss Roshni. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that overwhelming response, because once we ask the child to explain, she should think, she must be able to interpret, she should be able to relate, and hence it goes a little high to the second level. Observe three states of matter in the picture and write the difference in the table as per the particle theory. So I'm giving three, states of matters. I'm giving an ice cube, I'm giving a glass of water, and I'm giving a balloon filled with air. Okay, and I'm asking my child to observe it and write the difference between the three uh, based on the particle theory by framing a table. So here, the key term is difference, right? So what am I expecting the child to do? Am I expecting him to analyze, apply, evaluate, remember? What are we expecting the child to do here? Yeah, to an extent we can say we are asking them to analyze, but when you focus on the first part of the stem where it says observe, that's why I haven't highlighted it. That's the first verb that comes in the question stem, observe, which means you have to observe and apply the knowledge in order to differentiate. If you want to differentiate, you apply the knowledge. Hence, it mostly comes under the level of application, right? And also, it takes us towards analysis. The fifth question is uh, explain changes of states of matter: melting, freezing, evaporation. So I'm just asking them to explain, to tell me about the different states of matters, different processes that happens, which is melting process, freezing process, evaporation. So I'm just asking them to explain, okay, nothing else. So which um, Bloom's taxonomy level we are in? Absolutely right, Miss Bharati. We are under understanding level. Yes, yes, Mr. Naga. We are understanding. We are understanding level. Yes, Miss Sonal. You are absolutely right. Lovely, lovely, lovely response, audience. Thank you so much. So I hope we are somewhere. I can't say that we are 100% clear, but we are somewhere. We have started thinking about the different levels, how to fit in the STEM, and so many other things. So moving ahead, these are the two examples for hot questions. That's high ordered thinking skill questions. The question is: you are given a balloon filled with air and a bowl of water. Based on the particle theory, relate the above situation to each other and explain why the air in the balloon takes shape of the balloon while the water in the bowl maintains a flat surface. So again, we are giving two things to observe. We are asking the child to relate both the things, and we are asking them to answer the question by explaining it. So very good, Miss Roli Chaturvedi. We are asking them to apply. We are asking them to apply their knowledge and then relate. So when you go to your Bloom's wheel, which I have given you just now, if you open the Bloom's wheel and see, the verb apply comes under, sorry, the verb relate comes under application. Yes. So the second question, the next question is compare and contrast. Compare and contrast the behavior of the particles in solid, liquid, and gaseous gases regarding their arrangements and motion, and state how the difference affects the nature of these matters. How are they different with respect to the particles that are present inside these matters is the question that we would like to ask. Then that comes under which Bloom's level. I would quickly ask request you to post it in the chat box. Compare and contrast the behavior of the particles and write the difference is the question. Absolutely right, Mr. Naga, Miss Nayantara. That comes under application level, and also that goes into analysis. We are asking them to analyze. We are asking them to dissect. We are asking them to bifurcate. We are asking them to compare and contrast, distinguish all these words, find the difference. All these words is taking the child towards the level of analysis. Moving ahead, these are the last two examples. If we are placing a melted milk packet, okay, and chocolate inside the fridge, we are placing a milk packet and a chocolate packet inside the fridge. Which one will get freezed quickly? Either is it the milk that will get freezed quickly, or it's the chocolate that's going to get freezed quickly. The question here is justify your answer by stating the scientific reason aligning to the particle theory. So which kind of Bloom's level this is? Justify. The term here, the crux is justify. So we are asking them to observe and to justify. So when will you be able to justify something? For example, you are bringing two new mm, bags at home, and you are analyzing both the bags, and you justify saying that this bag is something that I really going to use. Very good, Ms. Ragini. Only when you evaluate it, the things with different parameters, you would be able to justify, you will be able to stand, you will be able to give reason and state that this particular item will freeze faster than the other because of this reason, right? The last question is design an experiment and show it step by step through a diagram to showcase the changes that happens in the states of matter when exposed to high temperature. So here we are expecting the child to design his own experiment to showcase whatever is being asked. So what is the level? Yes, Miss Mona Lisa, we are asking them to create, which is the highest. Yes, Miss Carol, we are asking them to create. Yes, Miss Rashi, thank you. Thank you so much for those wonderful responses. We are asking them to create and we are taking the child to the toppest of the pyramid, right? Okay, so it's your turn now. Tell me which question is better. Okay, the learning outcome. So let's consider the first box as A and the second box as B. Okay, the learning outcome, to relate type of vegetation with the land type. This is the learning outcome, the assessment objective, for which the first question is, when Ganga Brahmaputra rivers meet near the ocean, they form a vast delta which is covered with a thick forest. What is the forest called? Is this question justifying the outcome, or is it the second question? Spinach and okra are the two vegetations in that particular forest. The forest near Ganga Brahmaputra Delta has above kind of vegetation. Guess the forest. So is it the first question or the second question which is justifying or which is contributing to the learning outcome? Wonderful, Miss Sonal, Mr. RG Education. Uh, yes, Miss Lakshmi, thank you so much. Yeah, Miss Mona Lisa, yes, it's the second question that's uh, closely getting connected with our assessment objective. Wonderful audience, thank you so much. Moving ahead to the next slide. Now, the biggest question is, yes, Ms. Shrinidhi, you have taught us of so many things, but how will I get familiar with these Bloom's verbs? How am I going to frame these sentences? The only answer that I have to tell you all today is keep creating question stems. As teachers, please do not stick to the ready-made question papers available on the online portals and websites. It is very important for us to learn and create our own questions, because the online portal person has not taught your child. It is you who are teaching your child, and hence you should know what kind of questions, what quality of questions you have to post in front of your child if you really want to evaluate their learning outcome, right? So please keep creating question stems whenever you're free. Keep evaluating your question stems. Go ask your co-teachers in your staff room, show it to them, ask them, ma'am, is it correct? Would you like to give me some recommendations? That's definitely going to improvise your question stems. And always remember that you have to understand where the students are in the aspect of learning, what is the purpose. Again and again, stick to your assessment objective, stick to your learning outcome, deny coming out of it or stepping out of it too, and ultimately you're going to create a wonderful quality question, right? What are the do's and don'ts? Another 5 minutes. I'm going to quickly finish the do's and don'ts because it's very easy. Now, I would request all of you to take down the do's and don'ts in your notebook if you have, because it's very important for you to implement while you create papers. So, for MCQ question, the do's and don'ts look like this. Align the item. So, when I say item, it is the question, it is the stem. Align the question, the item, to the learning outcome, which is something which we have already spoken about. An item should assess an important concept. Just now we saw an example previously about the vegetation and the forest, where the question is not at all testing the learning outcome. The item should be written in unambiguous way, simple and clear language. Do not put so many sentences, complex terminologies, and confuse the child. That's not your objective, right? Follow grammatical consistency between the stem and the options. For example, if you are starting with an article, your option starts with an article, all your options should start with an article. For example, you start like a tree, an umbrella, an apple, then all your options should be starting with an article. Item should be written so as not to give away the answer. Yes, this is the basic mistake as teachers we tend to do unknowingly. But please do not reveal your answer in the question itself, right? Then that's of no use. Item should be constructed so that the question is located in the stem. The question has to be on the stem. The question cannot be in the options when you give a multiple choice question, right? Moving ahead, items should rarely be framed in negative. Do not frame in negative because again that's going to create confusion. Put a direct question. Items should have no repetitions in the options. Options cannot be repetitive. The child should not think whether it is this or this because it's a synonym. The answer cannot be a synonym. It should not sound the same, right? But it should be plausible. It can't be completely different as well. Item should have only one correct and clear best answer. The option should be plausible, just now, which I have already told you. Absolute terms such as always, all the above, never the above, none of the above should be very sparingly used because that is not that's not a way a good question should look like. Phrases such as all of the above, none of the above should also be used sparingly while you create a good MCQ question. Ensure the answer options do not overlap with each other. I'm going to give you a very good example when we go to the polls, when we talk about ensure the answer options do not overlap with each other. So please concentrate on these tips because now we are going to have a poll which will connect to these tips. So remember these tips, these guidelines while you answer the polls. Okay. This is an example where the first part, the first bracket that you are able to see is called as a stimulus, right? Where some stimulation, the thought is provoked with the stimulus, and the stem is the original question, the starter that we saw. What is most likely to happen to the water in the cup if this stimulation is going to happen? And A, B, C, D are the distractors. The answer in the distractor is known as the key. On the whole we call it as options, but actually they are called as distractors because MCQ is not a process of choosing the correct answer. MCQ is the process of eliminating the wrong answer. Hence your question should be easy for the child to eliminate the wrong answer, and the right answer comes on its own. Avoid unnecessary challenges in your questions while you create your questions. Item cannot contain too long, complex sentence. No difficult vocabularies. The vocabularies that you use has to be age appropriate because that's deviating the child from your assessment objective. Though he or she knows the answer, he is not able to answer because of that one hard, toughest vocabulary that you have used in the step. Please do not do that. Unnecessary complex illustrations and diagrams should be avoided. Lot of reading materials are not required when you have a math science paper. Topics or text that are not visible, blur the images. Please avoid them. Unfamiliar wordings should not be used. Statements that are completely vague, which do not have a proper reason, should be avoided. STEM that favors a particular gender, group, community, religious state, yes, of course, it has to be definitely avoided. Guidelines for creating a short answer type of a question. Again and again, I'm telling you the item here means the question stem. Okay. Make sure that the item, the question stem are relevant and appropriately assess the learning outcome. So again and again, I'm repeating the term learning outcome because it's very, very important. Make sure that the language in the item is clear. Make sure that the item is free of unintentional clues. Do not reveal the answer in your question. Okay, we are going to see many examples of it when we go to the polls. Structure the item so that the response is short as possible. Um, the options cannot be so long, 3, 4 sentences. It has to be short while you create a MCQ question. Use direct question format. Make sure that the blanks for the students are enough for them to write the answer. Avoid copying text straight from the textbook and converting it into a short answer. You have to recreate based on the learning objective, assessment objective. Create an answer or marking scheme. This is something that's compulsory for everybody who is creating a question paper. Answer key, marking scheme has to be parallelly created when you create a question paper, because that's an evaluation process. Teachers, please try to understand, while you are going to parallelly create the rubric or the marking scheme or the answer key, that's going to really allow you to evaluate the level of your question paper. Hence, please have it as a habit. Guidelines for creating easy type questions, essay type questions, I'm so sorry. Question has to be simple. You should have a rubric, because children may write anything and everything as an answer. So for all long answer which is more than 3 marks, you must be having a strong rubric with different parameters, criterias. Carefully consider the amount of time the student need to answer. Uh, Use easy items to assess high order cognition skill. They should be written at cognitive level. So you have to take care of the Bloom's cognitive levels based on the question that you are asking. If it is a 5 mark question, of course, you cannot justify the 5 marks if you are going to ask a large question, right? So you have to always map it with the cognitive level of the Bloom's with the marks. Avoid asking questions that are too long. Convert such questions to pointers by breaking them down. So if you feel that it's a huge question, you can put it in pointers one by one, so there is a clarity in your question step. Okay, so we are almost done. We have crossed 70 percentage of our learning target today. Clap, clap, clap for all of you. Clap yourself, pat yourself. If you want to stretch a bit, you can stretch a bit little. Okay, let's quickly revise. Point number one: get the right content, because you are 30% successful when you're going to do this. The second point is decide the objective, which is the most important thing that you have to do to create a quality question. And your assessment objective should always map match with the learning outcome. Set the level of the question paper using the Bloom's taxonomy. Fourth step is framing the question. Before framing the question, always remember to create an item descriptor. Whatever is there raw in your mind, please put it down in the paper. That gives you a clarity before you frame it into a question. Fifth, always remember to ask yourself, is it measuring the outcome, the learning outcome? Remember the do's and don'ts that we just discussed, and keep practicing. These are the 6 pointers that's going to help you to become a lovely question paper setter, and people will start eating out of your hands. Oh, this is the state. Am I right? You all are tired with overdose of information. So get ready for the poll. Are you all ready for the poll? Can you quickly have response? Okay, great. That's great. Okay, Mr. Shankar, I would request you to kindly drop the poll link, the first poll link for our audience. Thank you, sir. Okay, I have started the interaction. The first question, I'm sharing this tab. The first question says, which one of the following is a better question for the learn? You can open the link in your window. Oh, many of you have started answering as well. That's absolutely great. Better. First question A is center of reflecting surface of a spherical mirror is a point called dash. Is a better question? Or the second question, to get a virtual image of an object with a concave mirror, where should the object be placed? Which question is more aligning with the learning outcome that I have put to explain the properties of images formed by the spherical mirror for a different position of an object? Come on, quickly. Okay, very good. I hope all of you have answered. It's question B. Absolutely right. Great. Well done. Now let's go to the second question. I'm going to start the interaction for the second question. I hope all of you are able to see the second question on your screen. And the question is, which one of the following is a better question for the learning outcome? Infer. Please, I'm giving you a clue here. Infer meaning from the context. Write a better synonym for the word kind. Otherwise, a text is given. The old man was patient and kind to everything that had life. Write a word that describes the old man to its best in the context of the above given sentence. Absolutely right. The question B is the correct answer. I'm going to stop the interaction now. Thank you so much, audience, for the lovely response. Okay, the third question. Let me see how quick you all are. Choose the better. The learning objective is to explain the characteristics of various landforms. In India, Thar is the name of dash is the first question. The second question is name of the landform which experiences scanty rainfall, wide range of temperature from day to night, and has a very little vegetation, which is aligning closely to the learning objective or the learning outcome or the assessment objective. Absolutely right. 85% of you have chosen question B. Yes, you are 100% correct. Question B is the right answer. Very good. Congratulations. Um, Mr. Jayashankar, can I please request you to post the link of the second poll, please? Are we ready, audience? Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I'm going to start with the first interaction. Yes, the first interaction is on your screen. Which question reveals the answer in the stem and is not a good example? We many a times tend to do this, right? A smallest unit of an element having properties, the properties of that element is an dash. The smallest unit of an element having the properties of the element is dash. Okay, many of you have chosen option B. Option B, but I don't know whether you all have seen the question. The question says which question reveals the answer in its stem, which is not a good example. So is it an option B or option A? Whether option A is not a good example or option B is not a good example. So here the answer is option A is not a good example, because if you watch very carefully, the stem has a hint of the answer by writing an, right? If you write the article an, obviously children will know that the next term that follows has to be A, E, I, O, U. And in the options, atom is the only answer which starts with A. Rest everything is with other letters. Hence, it is going to be very easy for your children to tick on C and get that one full mark from it. Okay. I'm stopping the interaction for the first question. Yes, 56% of you have chosen the right answer. Very good. Congratulations. Keep going. You're learning a lot today. Let's go to the second question. I have started the interaction. The question is on your screen. Which question is better framed? The learning outcome is to explain the composition of ozone. How is ozone obtained? Option A, option B, option C, option D. Is the first choice, that is A is a better question or is B a better question? Is something that you have to select. Come on. Remember the tips, the guidelines that we learned today. The options, the distractors should not be lengthy, should not be for should not be huge sentences, right? That was something that we learned today. See, I'm giving you a lot of tip. I'm helping you all. Absolutely right, 50%. Oh, we are in a 50-50 right now. Okay, let me wait for 10 seconds more to reveal the answer. Come on, audience. Apply the knowledge in the situation given. You're in the third level of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. Okay, that's absolutely correct. Question B is the correct answer. It is rightly framed because the options are, the distractors are not too huge. And the question is very crisp. The stem is very crisp when compared to the Question A. Okay, I'm stopping the interaction. Thank you so much for your response. The third question, I'm starting the interaction right now. Which question is framed clearly as per the learning outcome? Explain the properties of baking soda, and then there is a question. And there is another one question. The irritation and the pain caused by the bee sting can be eased by what? Come on, quickly give me an answer. Which question is framed properly, unambiguously, which is framed in a clear way? Okay. Oh, it's a 50-50 now. 52-48. Okay, the right answer is question A. A. Yes, you are absolutely right. Why? Because question B. I'm so sorry. The right answer is question B. Why? Because the stem is crystal clear. It is unambiguous. It's not too lengthy. It is not adding so many unnecessary words. It is straight away asking the learning outcome, learning assessment objective and the learning outcome. Absolutely right. I'm stopping the interaction right now. Mr. Jayashankar, can I just request you to put the last poll for today, the third poll on the screen for our audience, please? Thank you so much, sir. Okay, let me start the interaction. I hope the third poll is on your screen. And the first question, yes, I have started the interaction. Which of the following is framed as per the requirement of the learning objective? To perform character analysis. So you're an English teacher and you want to perform a character analysis. Question A, what was the name of the servant? Is it giving any value to your learning objective? Please think. Second question, absolutely right, audience. Question B is the correct answer because that is justifying your learning objective. Absolutely good. Now going to question number 2, which of the following is framed as per the requirement of the learning outcome? To find out the midpoint of a line segment, that's your learning outcome. To find out the midpoint of the line segment. Question A, under the topic coordinate geometry, we learn about dash is the question A. Yeah, I have started the interaction. The second question says that Question B says that what is the midpoint of the line segment AB where A is -4, 2 and B is something something coordinate. So which is aligned to the learning outcome? The learning outcome is to find out the midpoint of the line segment. Absolutely right. 75% of you have chosen the correct answer. So that means you have got it. You have learned it. Pat yourself, audience. Now, the third question, which is the last question for today, I have started the interaction. We mostly tend to do this as teachers. The learning outcome is to identify the parameters of sports, of the different sports. Which STEM will complete the following question? It is an open-ended question where you have to type and give me the answer. So, which of the following is the odd one out? You need not give me the answer. You just have to tell me which stem will complete the following question. What is the stem that I am missing here? What is the stem? No, I don't want the answer, whether it's billiards or football or cricket. I want what is the stem which is going to complete my question. Which one of this, which one of which one is the odd one out? What is the stem that I'm missing? Okay, the stem that I'm missing here is give reason. The stem that I'm missing here is give reason, and my option should also have some or the other reason stated because this is an opinion based question. Which one is the odd one out? For me, absolutely reasoning. Yes, somebody has answered very well. For me, the answer can be billiards. For some other reason, for you, the answer can be hockey. for some other, because of some other interpretation in your mind. So if I have to complete the STEM, I have to ask you for justification. I have to ask you for reasoning. Absolutely right. I have got the correct answer from few of you. So with this, I'm going to end the poll. Wonderful response, spectacular response from all of you. A huge applause from my side. Okay, so finally, we have come to the end of today's learning journey. Step one, content. Step two, objective, assessment objective, learning outcome. Step three, mapping it with your levels of Bloom's taxonomy. Step four, simple, frame the question, right? So these are the four steps that we have successfully learned today. Whenever you are sipping a hot cup of tea or a coffee at your home after the session, kindly take a screenshot of it and think about it. How confident you are about the learning that you have got today. Do you still need clarity? Or you completely did not understand whatever we spoke today? And please mention three takeaways, key takeaways that you are going to remember as your lifelong learning. Thank you so much, audience. And this is the document from where I have resourced my today's presentation. It's a CBSE Assessment and Evaluation Handbook. Jai Shankar sir, I would request you to kindly post it for our audience, and in the YouTube stream. Thank you so much, sir. And yes, I hope you all really, really enjoyed today's session. Thank you so much. I'm going to wait here for a minute. If you have any questions, any queries, you can post them in the chat. Otherwise, if you really like my session, you can show that in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. You were a lovely audience. Ms. Simran, you're on mute.
Sorry. I was saying thank you so much, Shrinidhi ma'am, for a very engaging and informative session. For our community of teachers, I am sure that our teachers have taken a lot of takeaways from this session. Uh, I think there were a few questions on the chat earlier, and I've tried to bring them together, and I'll just ask you those questions if that's fine. Uh, First question a lot of people asked is how what strategies should we use to maintain like an appropriate balance of difficulty across the paper while addressing diverse learners, because a lot of conversation these days is around differentiation, right? But
Absolutely.
question papers do not represent that differentiation, because that is something that is we use as a standard, right? So how do we
So,
um,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead please ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, I got your question, Simran. So the best way is to differentiate the question paper. The best way is to differentiate the question paper where you set different levels for the children. If your curriculum is not allowing you to do that, if your curriculum is little stringent, in that way it can be somewhere 40-60, I would say, wherein 60% of your question paper is going to be between easy and medium, where you choose lots kind of a question, and 40% of your question should aim to take your learners towards the HOTS, that's high order thinking skills.
Sure. So, just to add to that question, you mentioned that differentiation. However, when we talk about, say, end of semester or end of year examinations, those are standardized tests, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
how do we create? Okay, you said that 60% lots and mods, and then
HOTS.
40% mods.
Yeah.
So, okay, that should help us. But
Yeah,
are
that
there?
can be a good ratio, because of course assessment should not spoil the confidence of the children.
Yeah.
Hence it's always better, and in also when I say lots 60%, that doesn't mean that completely you're going to stick to the remembering kind of a question.
Hmm.
You have to nudge the child towards understanding and application, and then
Yeah.
analysis, evaluation, creation comes under the pure HOTS level.
Yes. Another question is if there is a way to pilot or review question papers to identify what are the gaps in the question paper itself before finalizing and administrating the a question paper to the students?
I've already told you that in the presentation. Peer check. Peer check is the best method for you to evaluate your question papers. While you are asking your peers to check, do not forget to give them a rubric with different criteria. Ask them to rank, rate your question paper, and you can give them a comments column where they are justifying why did they give you such a low rating in particular criteria or such a high rating in a particular criteria. So peer checking is the best method. That works a lot for me.
Thank you so much. And with that, we come to the end of this session.
Yeah, so
Uh,
some of
just
them were asking for competency
the
based
webinar.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, competency based questions I have already shown in the examples where the application level, analysis, evaluation, and creation level of examples that I have shown in the presentation are the competency based questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shrinidhi ma'am. Jay, if you can put up the uh, next slide. Yeah. If you have registered and filled out the feedback form for this session, check your record of participation in the app in the My Learning section. I will guide you through the instructions. Step 1. Open the Center app on your device. Step 2. Navigate to the ongoing webinar section. Step 3. Click on Submit Feedback. Please note that this option will be available till 6 p.m. IST. Step 4. During the end of the session, we will share a 4-digit code required to enter the feedback. Enter this code to access the feedback form. The code for today's session is 7453. Step 5. Complete the feedback form you will be able to download your record of participation instantly. This new process was introduced to streamline your experience and ensure that your participation is instantly recognized. Thank you so much, all participants, for engaging with us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, visit the Center app. Good night and have a nice day.